All right, so we gonna segue because that's just a perfect setup. It wasn't planned, but we gonna go right into Ayesha Curry.
Oh, baby.
Because we gonna go right to Ayesha Curry. And we know we a little late on this topic, but whatever. Y'all like to talk about gossip and stuff. Y'all gonna listen. So Ayesha Curry made waves a few weeks, maybe close to a month ago, when
Waves, tsunamis, hurricanes, monsoons.
man, well, people like to talk about her whenever she gets on the interview, but she was on Call Me Daddy podcast, I believe, which never mind, I ain't gonna touch that. So she made some waves because she was once again being asked about it for me, from a very real place, from other women. She was being asked about her state of mind, her mental health, and her thoughts about her place in life as the wife of Stephen Curry, aka Chef Curry. And she gave an honest answer like she gave before, and I believe she wrote a book too. And she was essentially just talking about how she didn't plan to have kids at that time. Like before she had them, she was like, before she got with Steph, she wasn't really seeing herself as a housewife. She saw herself as a career girl. I believe somebody was saying like she might have been into fashion or entertainment, I'm not sure, but whatever her field, she thought that's what she was gonna do. She was gonna be the working person. And and she also acknowledged, like, you really don't know what you want at that age until it happens to you. So
yeah, she references like losing the version of yourself you thought you were going to become,
Yeah, but she also said she's very happy for what she has. She just, that wasn't her plan. So anyway, that on top of all the things she said before, where people feel like she's not grateful and they feel like she's complaining, or they just feel like Steph is that guy, which, to be honest, and Abrisha knows. If y'all don't know, y'all gonna know now. I don't have no problem saying stuff like this. Like, Steph is like a decent looking guy to people. Like take away the money and everything. Like, yeah, like he light skinned, he got the eye.
Right, he would have had some pull if he was a regular average Joe.
First of all, I know people without a house. I know the unhoused out here pulling some kitty cats. So don't sit here and tell me stuff. So people look at that and they like, man, what you talking about? Steph is that guy. Like, not only is he that guy in basketball, he got money, he looked decent. Like, girl, who are you? But she, like, at the time when nobody knew him for real, when nobody was looking for him, she thought she was that girl. And so people have taken all these comments over the years and just been like, she's ungrateful, she's dogging her husband, she should just be quiet. So anyway, so you was talking about the idea of Angie Stone and like your partner becoming a sex symbol, and I think that relates well to
heavily in the public eye. Yeah, definitely for Ayesha and Steph. But I'll speak to that, and I'll also speak to that woman was making some like really real statements, and I just hate that people they get into, oh, you have the perfect partner, your life is perfect, you got the big house, and you have the this and that and the third, and you have, your life is perfect, why are you complaining? She has the right to. Nobody's perfect in any social economic status or relationship. She has her the right to kind of voice her opinion, and I honestly don't think that she said anything that was like jarring, but people like to twist it just because they felt like, oh, if I had what she had, I would never be. That's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys complain about stuff for less. So I'm extending her grace because I get it. Like she said, she thought a different version of her life, and then she had a child very young, so what she thought for herself pivoted at a young age, and she kind of has been drifting into this newer life. And we all feel that loss of, like, your inhibitions when you were young. You know, we all have that. Oh, I'm gonna be married by this age, and I'm gonna have the kids, and I'm gonna have a career, and I'm gonna have this, and then life hits you and stuff move around, and you pivot and you go on about it. But like, I think that with her, like literally feel like she's mourning the loss of like the career that she wanted, on top of also, and let's give her more grace for the fact that with celebrity women, you're constantly being prodded at about your looks and people's desire to view you. I mean, a lot of basketball wives are not equated to anything past their looks. So don't beat her up for then drinking the Kool-Aid and that being what matters to her. That's all she's reading about herself is people, you know, the picture perfect couple, and then the looks and that, and then, you know, the women after Steph. Like, that's
Yeah,
her life. That's her real everyday life. So why are we
it's
getting mad at her for saying like, damn, am I losing my touch? Do I, you know,
and
have I
she a
lost
victim.
everything?
Well, I'll say this: like, yes, like being a woman, a person of color, any minoritized or oppressed group, like you're a victim of the system, like that you grow up in, that's been around for a while. But also to the same point, I just want to say, like, I won't even say she was mourning it. Like, she was just asked a question. Like, literally, if you ask me, so let's just say in my profession, I'm making like $3 million, I don't know, whatever. And they be like, yo, Terry, so at this age, at 17, what was this the plan? I'd be like, no, I didn't know this was I was a business student. I was trying to do something else. Like,
Right.
just answering the question. Like, so I don't even want to make it seem like she was like sad or bemoaning it, because she said multiple times for people to actually like listen to the clip, like she's happy and she's blessed where she's at, but
Right. She's
she
just
just
acknowledging that she had to
answering.
pivot out of a prior dream into a new
Yeah,
one.
yeah. And so another thing I say, I feel like um that I'll equate it to, which might be a little fat, but whatever. Because I be seeing, like, especially from Chicago, I see things about like food content or whatever, and people come visit, or the Keith Lees, or people do reviews and stuff, and they be like, I don't like it. So it was one, I forgot the dude name, I'm sure everybody know him, but I just saw a video from him. He was in Chicago for a show, and he ate like the dip Italian beef, and he was like, this not it, this not it. And everybody in the comments going crazy from Chicago. And
About to beat the man up.
but I literally read a comment like, oh, y'all crazy. I literally love an Italian beef dip with peppers, and it. Key word, you love that. Just like you said, people are projecting
A
what
lot of
they
projecting.
want, what they like. That you gotta understand the two. And so, like you said, online that happens a lot. That happens with Ayesha Curry all the time. Like, I
But
could
also,
point
just
at
need to
that.
people need to be honest, y'all. No matter what the relationship status is, people are going to always people and find something to complain about. I refuse to believe that all of these women who are, we let's just call a spade. We're professional complainers, are going to suddenly just be like hunky dory just because they have a rich spouse. That's just no. I'm not
But
hearing
even
that.
then, if you had somebody sitting there podcasting talking about some, yeah, I'm the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and I do everything I want to do, but I'm not married and I don't have kids. And they was like, was this the plan? No, I wanted a family. I wanted this.
Right?
Nobody will rip her for that. Nobody will rip her. They'd be like,
No.
oh yeah, yeah, because that's the plan. That's the historic plan for a woman, to have
Mm-hmm.
kids, be the homemaker. But because because I would argue Ayesha is not the norm. She's the outlier. I think if she was the norm, nobody would complain, or most people wouldn't complain. But because she's the
Mm-hmm.
outlier, that's like, no, I wasn't planning on kids. Because there's people that have been planning on kids since junior high. Like,
No, yeah, but I also want to talk about like the bias for um people. I feel like Aisha's also caught in the net of like pretty privilege and, people not understanding what she does outside of, being his spouse. They don't know much about her businesses or her, job or what she does. So they just feel like, you're just a person living off of somebody. Because I think about a great example is Shonda Rhimes. So Shonda Rhimes talked about the balance of, work and having children. And she admitted, in her interview, like, when I'm producing my best shows, I'm the worst mom because I'm dedicated to my writing. I'm I'm missing out on their lives. And then when I realize I'm missing out on my kids' lives and take a break and go, be the best mom, then my shows are lacking and my, this and that in the third. But because she's so successful and people can visibly see her work, it's like, oh, we'll give her a pass. Yeah, she could say that. You know what I'm saying? We love her shows, so she can say that. But then if it's somebody like Ayesha, where you're not as familiar with their career, it's like, who are you to complain, girl? You don't do nothing. And it's like, that person does do something just because you don't know. But, I feel like she's kind of caught in that as well.
Yeah, and we also lean to the money. Like that's what it always. Because if
what they say, whose phrase is that? Broke people should never laugh. So basically, it's kind of like that, where they're like, you don't have a right to complain. You're not. They feel like she's not contributing enough to complain. Basically,
broke people or rich people should never laugh. I mean,
no, broke people should never laugh. Basically, meaning you shouldn't have no opinion when you can't even do X, Y, and Z with fun. Like that.
Oh,
I think it's Nicki Minaj that I'm quoting.
And I love Nicki, but no, I mean, like, but to that opposite end, I guess a lot of people do feel like rich people don't need to complain. We don't want to hear your complaints. Like, and to a certain extent, I understand people's feelings on that, but in reality, they could do they're human beings. And as much as people keep saying that they're just a human, people like myself that be like, oh, I don't get starstruck, they're just humans. But a lot of people don't really fully give people grace to be humans. They just kind of give lip service. So you get a person like Ayesha Curry, and as I mentioned many times before, we all going through Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, but it's hard when I'm on a lower level and you on a higher level and we both complaining. Like, it becomes oppression Olympics at that point, because I'm complaining about how am I going to put food on the table tonight, or how I'm going to pay this rent, and you complaining about how do you feel fulfilled as a person. And it's like, right. Oh, we don't got no time for your thoughts, because we dealing with real stuff over here. And I don't think that's fair.
It's not. But like you said earlier, it's all projection. People projecting, what their desires and their ideologies to, these celebrity, hot takes and stories. So, but as a person who's been married for a long time, I hear her, I feel her. A lot of these people who are complaining haven't even been through the cycles of life yet, because I feel like if you were to give this same conversation over to our Gen Xers, so that'll be like our parents, they will understand her wholeheartedly. I feel like their conversation will be completely different, because they've actually been through a couple of cycles of life where they had to pivot and change up. How many people have we saw, they wanted to be in school, had their children realize they needed to take a break. Now their kids are grown and they're finally going back to get their education, or whatever the story may be. But there was moments where they had to pivot and give up something in order to sacrifice for their families, and then, go back later in life to whatever it is that they love. So I feel like the conversation will be different. I feel like all of this hooping and hollering that we're hearing are younger millennials and, zillennials and the Gen Alpha, who's just like, I would never, I mean, you can get, you don't know. You haven't, what they say, you haven't lived long enough to understand. So they just don't have the experience.
And I think also we live in that age now where everybody sees more. Like, there's no substitute, in my opinion, of physically going to see more, physically getting out of Chicago, getting out of Atlanta, physically going to China, going to Greece, and seeing more and difference, but at the same time, social media gets close enough to where it's like I never even thought about this stuff, and now I'm seeing all these different things, and everybody's asking. And honestly, the pandemic was a big accelerator for that too, where people start to ask themselves what it is they want, what they want to do. But I'll wrap it up
Yeah,
with
the
this.
pandemic definitely had us all reflecting.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up with the tying it back to the Angie Stone, just in a few brief words, since you are the long time here with the partner. If you got into a situation where your partner, your husband, and what he did became the business, and like everything else about y'all was secondary, how would you handle it? I know you said Angie Stone, it's a tough situation, but how would you, what would be your initial thoughts if it was like all of a sudden, okay, now he is it, and everything goes through him being that guy?
Right. I am big on, like, being a team player and kind of playing my role. Call me whatever you want to call me, but like that's just how I am. I know how to. I'm a real chill person. I don't need to be like the forefront of things. So even within my artistic creative realm, I'm a director. I don't need to be the star or the front facing person. So if that were to happen, I think I know how to kind of, I'm not a jealous person, so I don't think I would constantly questioning the intent of my status as the spouse in that situation. But I do have something similar that's lower level than like a celebrity status. But like my husband's from Ethiopia. He's a really attractive guy, and I remember when we first got married, we were living in two different countries, and I had to let him know when he came over here that like in Ethiopia, most of them stay married. Their marriage rate of like staying married is like 70-something% somewhere. Divorce is a very rare thing. And a lot of people respect marriage heavily over there. Somebody knows that find out that you're married, they'll try to, back off or stuff like that. I had to explain to my husband before he moved here. I knew I had an attractive spouse, and I said, hey, people are not going to give a damn that you're married here. They're going to still try to come at you. And you got to be prepared to, turn down some people, because unfortunately over here in America, we don't really respect the institution of marriage like that, because our divorce rates are so high. We just assume everybody's cheating and doing, this is Sodom and Gomorrah.
What that
over
mouth
here.
do?
Right. So, but I remember having to have this talk with him, because it's a cultural difference. It's a cultural shift, coming somewhere where someone's not going to give a F that you got a ring on your finger and it's going to still try to holler. But I'm looking at my spouse. He's fine. So I'm like, all right, there's going to be some ladies that are going to throw themselves his way. He's got to be prepared for when he say, oh, I'm married, that's not going to mean anything. So I remember back in, I think he moved here in 2012, having that conversation. And so that on the lower level, I mean, yeah, if you have an attractive partner, most women or men who have attractive partners, they know, somebody's going to try to holler at your person, but you have to be secure in yourself, and you also have to be secure in your partner and whatever it is that y'all built. If you got to be in a relationship with somebody where you got to be worried about if they cheating or if they're going, if they out here fishing while they with you, why are you with them? Me personally, I never felt that with my partner. So I know that people are going to try to talk to him, but I'm confident in what we got going on. So that ain't my business at that point. But like, yeah, so I know how to step back if he were to come. And we both have like our social media accounts and stuff like that. And he, we have quite a bit of following on our social media accounts and stuff like that. So it comes with the territory.
So I wouldn't be doing my job as a podcaster if I didn't ask. So when I think the biggest thing that blew Ayesha Curry up is when she talked about that she kind of liked the attention online because like there was so much attention going to Steph. And we talked about that, you know, the status, but also like, yeah, he probably could attract some girls. So
Everybody needs to go. What they say, he without self-reflection casts the first stone. We have all been in situations where we, oh Lord, my alarm's going off. We've all been in situations where you've are becoming a new version of yourself and you're looking yourself in the mirror and saying, you know, damn, I'm not the old me. Do I still got it? Or, you know, am I still, everybody goes through that, whether they're single, married, whatever. So the fact that she's getting beat up about missing the attention of, you know, people trying to, you know, or, you know, even just give you a compliment saying, you know, hi, how are you, or whatever. I'm not hearing nobody who's trying to act like they don't do that. That they would literally be lying. We are always all tugging at ourselves, you know, looking at our, you know, if you age in lines, and maybe you got some gray hair coming in, maybe you got a little pooch now, or your stomach ain't as flat as it used to be, or, you know, whatever it is. So I'm not trying to hear that. I'm sorry, y'all.
so
Stop lying. Stop the cap.
so to be clear, as a married woman, not only you but your husband as well, you think that's a reasonable expectation to I won't even say seek it out, but to desire a little flirtation from outside the relationship?
Yeah, so that's great question, because that's the difference. You should not be seeking it out. No. But like, of course, everybody's gonna have a little grin if somebody try to holler at you. Like, okay, maybe I still got it a little bit. All right, now, come on, girl. That mean I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know, that mean my gym membership is working. Okay, I don't. No. So seeking it out, that's just wrong. Why are you looking for validation from others? You know. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that people don't have a little grin or smirk when somebody try to holler. You're like, all right, okay, I'm looking nice today. That mean I ain't out here looking like I'm ashy and unloved. That's cool. All right, cool. I did a little something today. But yeah, seeking it out, no.
Yeah.
I'm not for that. You ain't supposed to be doing that.
All right, one more question, because now I don't even, this my homie, I don't even talk to her like this. This is my last little question. So if you, as a married woman,
Mm-hmm. As a married woman,
married woman. So if you leave a house, and I know your situation, it's not like this, but let's just say you leave a house and the husband's staying at home right now, and you fine today, you know, he done buttered you up. Once you leave the house, at that point, is all the compliments like over your head, or you still like, you know, it's nice to get a compliment, or
no, I'm gonna be on cloud
from a
nine
guy?
if my partner is the person that I want to hear that stuff from. So if I put my shit on, you know, and my partner like, ooh, wait, I'm floating. I don't need it from nobody else, because I you know, I didn't heard from my other half that I'm looking all right. I like that. It's cool. I am literally legally blind when people try to talk to me.
Yeah, I know.
I just walked right past somebody down in the lobby. It was like a week ago. One of my neighbors on the second floor tried to reach out as I was coming out of the elevator, and I act like I didn't even see the nigga. I went straight to my mailbox. He was like, "Damn, cold ass bitch." Yeah, I am, because I don't have nothing to offer you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I like to get hyped up from my spouse and my friends. So when my friends tell me, you know, I'm looking my best, I'm like, hey. When my girls be like, come on now, okay, yeah. And I feel like a lot of women are like that. We prefer actually our friends to hype us up, because we know they know how much effort we might have put into whatever look we got going on. But yeah.
Okay. I thought that was important to get on.